I'm very glad that you were able to find a wedding dress that you like.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. It's been giving me a lot of stress and anxiety.
I am bitter that it was the day that I couldn't make it.
That's not my fault.
I know.
This was planned months in advance.
But also, I'm glad that you didn't have to do more appointments and stuff.
Yeah, it was just, the timing was so bad with how work was because of year-end close. I was just like a stress nightmare, and now I just keep looking back at photos and I'm like, I hope I made the right decision.
I think you did.
I think so too, but the problem is none of the pictures show how sparkly it is. And so it's just like, it just looks like a fucking lace dress. And I'm like, this looks like every other person's dress.
Yeah.
But everyone swore to me that it was so unique. They're like, this is the most unique dress that you tried on. And I'm like, I tried on a black dress and a purple dress. I don't know what you're talking about. But everyone liked that one a lot better than the one with the like layered bottom that I was really into.
The one from Friday?
I tried on a similar one. It just was layered way differently.
Okay. Because the one that you ended up going with reminds me of the one that when we went out on Friday, there was like the last two, there was the one that you ended up putting back on.
Yeah.
And then I liked the other one that you were kind of like going back and forth on. This one reminded me of that other one.
Yeah, I think where I was like back and forth is I think that the one I went with looked by far the best on me. Like,
yeah,
it fit in all the right spots.
Yeah.
It made me look very thin, but it still had the big, I don't want to say a lot about it because you're recording, but
yeah.
I think it's the right dress. It's just I look back at the pictures and I just it doesn't capture how I was feeling when I said yes to it. Mm-hmm. And then
it's also like a phone picture though.
I know. And so I'm just like trusting it.
Yeah.
I'll see it in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's my dress regardless. Like, I'm not getting another dress.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like because I've watched Say Yes to the Dress all these years that it's just like, when you know, you know. And I don't feel like that was the case for me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it could have been the case for me.
I just don't think that's your personality.
No, because it's a dress. I'm not like, oh my God, this is the only thing for me. Just like I'm not like that with when I was dating. I was like, I can make anyone work.
I was
anyone
literally
can
about
fit
to say
into this
that
life.
because like having been on a date today, like I'm having to remind myself now that I'm like officially getting back into the game after like dating in my early and mid 20s. Like early and mid 20s, it's all about like the spark and like there's got to be fireworks. There's got to be like, you're reading all of the red flags and like they look amazing because it makes you feel on fire all the time. Like that's just dumb. Reality though.
So dumb.
It is, but like shows like Say Yes to the Dress apply that to like other things in your life and you're like, actually it's okay to like be contentedly happy with something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and also like think about how you're gonna look in this when Adriana gets some pictures of it.
I was thinking that. I was also thinking yesterday, I'm never gonna wear this fucking dress again. It's just gonna be it's so much money for one day.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of money for one day. I saw this video. I was going to send it to you, but it also made me want to, like, claw my eyes out. But it was basically, like, this girl. It was like, oh, my God, my daughter's so unique. Ha, ha, ha. This mother got, like, a video of her daughter cutting the dress into, like, a cocktail length for the ceremony, or for, like, between the ceremony and the reception.
Yeah.
And
was it the 80s one with the poofy sleeves? Because I've seen that.
No.
Okay.
This is just a trend now, I guess.
It is.
Which is so frustrating. Like, that's just, like, all of that work, all of the, like, labor and all of the, like, the artistic effort that went into this is now just ruined.
Yeah, but I've seen girls do that with their normal dresses where they're just like hard cutting with scissors in between the ceremony and reception and coming out. And then the bridesmaids are doing it to their dresses. And I'm like, that looks horrible.
It does.
You just spent multiple grand on this dress.
Yes.
I think that's a nutcase thing to do, but whatever.
Well, then the mom turned, because it was like a layered, kind of like the style that you,
the tiered bottom.
Yes, yeah. And so she turned that into the layers that came off. She like sewed them into a jacket. Yeah. Into like the cool. The panels on a jean jacket for her. Yeah, it was very cool. And I was like, okay, that's like making the most out of like what could have potentially like been looked back on as like a really terrible situation. Yeah. Because imagine like all of the stress and everything helping you make that decision on your wedding day, and then you look back and you're like, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, because I've been thinking about it a lot, obviously. Yeah. And I just, like, I think about my mom's dress. I am very not wearing my mother's dress. It is not. She loved Princess Di, and I get that. But no. I can't do all the frills and puffy sleeves and whatever. Yeah. But, like, what's it doing? It's sitting in a box. Like, I wish that there was some way I could get a use out of it. Mm-hmm. But I might use her veil for my bridal shower. But then for my dress, I was thinking, because all of Sean's friends have gotten married in the last few years, like, once we're all done getting married, we might do, like, a dinner party where everyone puts back on their wedding dress and wedding suit. Oh, and all comes together.
Okay, that'd be nice.
And do stuff like that. Yeah. Because I think then, like, you still get the use out of it, and it's still fun. And then it's also not in a space where your dress gets ruined. It'll be in my home.
Yeah. Before I get too deep into the sauce here. All right. Well, today I am joined by Kristin, my longtime friend and associate, part-time colleague, full-time lover. Just jokes. I wanted to say the worst possible thing when you put that glass to your mouth.
Oh, you could have said so much worse. Oh. This is my friend Kristin. She's got HPV. That would have been worse.
This is my friend Kristin. She is surviving lupus.
Me and Selena.
Kristin and I have been friends since high school. We've lived together before, and recently, I mean, as that conversation shows, life is taking off pretty amazingly for her. We're all so happy. But we're trying to make, like, dedicated time to make sure we're catching up. And as usual, we are incorporating too much cheese and meat into that situation. And we probably will regret all of it, but it's okay. We'll live.
I won't regret it. This is the most important thing in my life right now.
That's fair.
Not you, the cheese.
Yeah, I was thinking the cheese, and then I was thinking not the wedding dress conversation we just had. In the interest of making more concerted effort to catch up, for sure, join us for a little bookish chat. Yeah. So what have you been reading? Wait. Tell me, okay. Because I know you brought a book with you to be like, here's what I'm currently reading.
I just don't remember the name of it.
That's fair.
I'm not deep in it.
But also, like, what are some good books that you've read lately?
Are you asking me or are you prepping me?
I'm asking you.
I should stop eating then. Good books. So.
Or any books.
I can give you a list of everything I just tore apart on GoodReads today.
Let's start with a good book, and then I want to hear some of the stuff you tore apart, yeah.
So I just reread Emily Henry, a few of her books, because I bought Happy Place last year and then school started. So I was on my winter break and I was like, I'm going to read Happy Place. Really liked it. She's got like 4 books out right now. Mm-hmm. This one is probably bottom 2 for me, but it was still like 5 stars. Like, really enjoyed it. The main thing is it's not so much the romance as like her other books are. It's more about kind of friendships dying as you get older, or like their friendships changing, I should say. Like, there's more distance, like you're having these monumental things happening in your life and you're maybe not picking up the phone and calling your best friend about it. And so it was a lot of dealing with like that, like grief of relationships changing. And then also this relationship fell apart and she's got to hide it from her friends because they're all meeting up together for this like annual vacation they used to do at this beach house. It's amazing. So that, like, had the rich people element that I really look for in a book. I don't like reading about the poors. But
we just love to see how the other half lives.
Yeah. So I really liked it. I just came out and I was like, you know, she's got some other bangers. And then I went back and I reread Book Lovers because that one's my favorite. So good. You haven't read any Emily Henry, right? Mm-mm. So that one, all of her books are typically not Happy Place. All the other ones are based in like people who work in the book industry. I can't imagine why, as an author. She knows so much about that industry. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like this girl who has this string of men that leave her in like a Hallmark scenario.
Oh, God.
For like a girl whose family owns like a Christmas tree farm. Like they go on vacation and they're like, you don't listen to me. And this girl Valentine or whatever her stupid name is, she really gets me, and we're gonna run the inn, and we're gonna save the inn. And so she looks at herself as like that Hallmark trope, but she's the big city gal that gets left behind.
She's the girlfriend that we all want him to dump.
Oh,
that
know.
Sucks. Oh my god, I have to read this.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I love that so much. Also, Emily Henry writes about not children, which is really nice. They're grown with like careers, and this girl, she's like very in her career, very good at her career. And then it's like a little bit enemies to lovers. Like,
okay.
Because they're not enemies, but they like have a really unfortunate business interaction with each other.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then her sister is like pregnant or whatever. And so they go to this town that one of the main girl's authors wrote about.
Yeah.
And they're like going there for a month. And basically her sister's trying to bully her into having that Hallmark small town farmer boy romance. Which is so funny. And then, I don't think it's a spoiler, because it is kind of most of the book.
Okay.
The guy she has that like falling out with in the book industry is actually from there and is in town helping his parents run their bookshop because his family's going through some like health stuff and money stuff. And so she shows up and is like, how is this man here? And like, I just love that she goes to a small town where it's just like a little farmer, like they're trying to force her into this farmer thing, and she goes, no, I'm going to stick with this big city boy who likes being a big city boy, and she like doesn't change who she is.
So, I like that.
Really good book. Really, it's an easy read, but it's so good. And then I like Beach Read by her as well. We meet on vacation is like Happy Place. It's good, but it's not my favorite.
It's funny because I've only really heard about Beach Read.
Yeah.
It's really like, that's the one that's like in everything.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
That one's got optioned for something too.
Nice. I also I watch a lot of Hallmark with my mom.
I saw.
Yes. And one of my favorite tropes is when they accidentally meet and then they find out later. So like her finding him in the small town. Honestly, I would fucking fall for that so hard. Yeah.
It was incredible. And her adapting to this small town, like her sister creates a bucket list of stuff they have to do there. And it's like, wear a flannel, skinny dip in the lake. Like, she's just like,
we don't have flannel in the city.
Well, they go to, oh my God. It's just, it's such a good read. I love it. Okay. If I was going to say like, read an Emily Henry book, it's that one.
Okay.
Beach Read, very close second. I also reread that one. The other two were great, but not my favorite. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like I could see myself in this character because she is like workaholic.
Yeah.
She's like, I am not trading in my Jimmy Choos for cowgirl boots. That is not who I am as a person.
Fuck that. Yeah.
She tried to order a salad at a place and they told her, please don't. And she said, I'm going to do it anyways, and deeply regretted it. It was a nice fun book. And there's not too many characters to make it confusing, which I think that was my qualm with Happy Place, is you have to follow like the storyline of like 10 characters because it's this whole friend group and their partners. Yeah. They're just fine.
Everybody
tries a lot for
do,
me.
At some point tries to do like the Love Actually thing.
I hate Love Actually, so it's terrible.
But I mean, like that setup where it's like there's like 10, 15 characters. Yeah. And they're all like, you got to follow all the storylines, but also they're all connected somehow.
Yeah. I think the difference here is, so with Happy Place, they're like all best friends and their storylines are all happening. They're all like side things. You don't really know when they're happening until they mention it to the character. So we're not jumping perspective so much, but you are jumping in time back and forth. So you're following like through their friendships forming, through the relationship forming, through the relationship falling apart in the past, all while they're trying to deal with the complication of their relationships now while ignoring all of the problems in them. So it's a little different just because I now know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
With like Valentine's Day, the movie did that too, where it like is everybody's different perspective, or he's just not that into you.
He's just not that.
I think they all like converge.
He's just not that into you. Did it a little better.
Because it's a phenomenal movie.
Phenomenal movie, phenomenal cast, but also like they pared it down. Mm-hmm. Valentine's Day tried to do so many at once, like way too many, and like I just remember like scattered like shots in my head from that movie, which does include like Taylor Swift doing her like cheer routine, absolutely iconic.
Will live in my brain forever.
Exactly. And I'm like, why do I remember that more than the actual movie or like almost any plot from the movie? It's because they were so skinny. And like the storylines themselves were just so like starved.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Not that that's a book we're talking about, but
yeah.
I do remember Ashton Kutcher showing up with flowers and being like, he's cheating on you. And she's like, go away.
Yeah.
I know that. Jennifer Garner, I think.
Yes, it was.
Those are the only 3. And then there's a woman on a treadmill in a power suit.
I don't remember that one.
Well, that's...
Who was it?
It could have been Marissa Tomei. It could be anyone.
I'm gonna look this up now.
I feel like she is either the assistant or the power suit woman. There's no way she's the power suit woman. She never plays power suit women.
My issue is like Marissa Tomei was in this movie?
Yeah. I'm like 87% sure she's in this movie.
Okay, let's see here. Valentine's Day. This only came out in... No, it's a short. Mm-mm. That's not what I'm looking for.
Nope.
Why is this so hard to find? This is... The government is trying to hide this 2010. There we go. Hide this from us. Oh my god. See, like, I'm looking at this and, like, the top billed cast members, like, you could have told me. I never would have guessed that this is who we were talking about. Is this the same movie? Is this another movie with the same premise?
No, because there's Ashton. That's the same movie.
It is. I really don't remember any of this. Wow. Taylor Swift is, like, not even in that. And I'm like...
No, she's in it for, like, half a second.
Yeah, with Taylor Lautner. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I remember that more than, like fucking Kathy Bates is in this?
Well, because Taylor Swift was...
Yeah.
She's our generation person. It was a very big moment for her to be in it.
Okay.
And Taylor Lautner was fresh out of Twilight.
Yeah, and I think this is when they were dating, isn't it? Like, IRL?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we've got Jessica Alba, Jessica Biel.
Oh, I don't know. Jessica Biel's Sean's celebrity crush, and I can't tell you one thing she's in, but now I can say Valentine's Day. I always mix her up with Jessica Alba.
Well, good news. They're both in this movie.
I know.
So you'll be right either way. Jennifer Garner. It's funny you mentioned that one, though, because I did actually see that clip where she goes, when she finds out he is cheating, and she goes to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's the server. I got that on TikTok, too. Possibly why that's top of mind.
Yeah. Taylor Lautner. Yeah, Marissa Tomei is not in this movie.
Are we sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I explicitly remember her being in this. How about we look up Marissa Tomei Valentine's Day and see if she's in it?
Let's look up Power Suit Woman.
She's in a suit or on a treadmill. Maybe treadmill.
Woman on a treadmill. Valentine's.
I watched this movie way too recently
Day
to be confused about it.
Let's see here. I'm going to try just Woman on a Treadmill, Valentine's Day movie.
Maybe just treadmill.
Treadmill, yeah. Okay. Valentine's Day number 8 movie clip. It looks like somebody... That's Jessica Biel. That is your fiance's hall pass.
Not hall pass.
Not hall pass.
Though,
that'd be sad now.
I feel, in my heart of hearts, let's just talk about hall passes. I feel that a hall pass should be remotely attainable. Not like it should be his, oh, this friend is my hall pass, but like...
So she was in her office and she did this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jessica Biel. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Fine. But I feel like...
Yes.
You should pick someone that, like, in the right circumstance...
Would actually
like
say
a celebrity.
Yes.
Could say yes.
Yeah.
Not would. Could potentially.
Like somebody
I don't know anything about Jessica Biel, so maybe she's achievable.
But she's married to Justin Timberlake, and based on what the world knows about his penis now, I'd say it's probably attainable.
I'm so happy to not be a part of the world. That's actually really nice for me. That's a win. Don't ruin it. Nope, I don't want to know. What a world. What a world we have to live in. Kind of like when Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson broke up. She goes, but he's got a big penis, though. And we're like, thank you.
Did you ever see the special, special that he did after that, where he's like...
He's like, please don't do that.
Yeah, and he's like, she's just small. Everything looks big to her.
It's really funny. Oh my God.
God,
we have derailed.
Very much derailed. This is okay. This is why we're here with the cheese. It's the cheese's fault.
No, not me pounding a half a glass of wine.
That was a half a glass, which was about a half a bottle.
A full glass of wine. Anyways, read Emily Henry books. I am her biggest supporter. I think she's phenomenal.
Okay.
I think she writes characters really well. They are not children. They all have jobs, which, you know...
Those are like your two big green flags.
They all have jobs, and they didn't achieve those jobs in a way that is unethical.
Yeah.
Because as I was doing all these scathing reviews on GoodReads today, I realized that the books that I don't like have really unethical workplace behaviors. And it does not fly for me.
So you're not into workplace romances?
No, I love a workplace romance.
Okay.
I just have very strict guidelines with it. And if you want to hear about a book that I read recently that I did not like very much, I gave it 4 stars.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Because I only give less than 3 stars if I, like, am actively telling people not to read a book. Mm-hmm. So Allie Hazelwood, are you familiar with her? I mean, I would think so. She wrote the Kylo Ren Rey fan fiction.
I haven't read it.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Out of her 3, that is the best one. Mm-hmm. So I read the 3rd one because that was also on my list. So that one is Love Theoretically, and it's like a academia, PhD based type of thing. She's already got her PhD. She's like trying to get a job.
Yeah.
But her like side gig to make money because she's a poor like adjunct or something, is being a fake girlfriend.
Nice.
Which I love. And
love
it's
that.
For sure escorting.
Yes.
But it's like...
We love a sex positive girly, okay?
It's definitely escorting without any like sexual interaction. But it's like the hire a date. So like the movie The Wedding Date's a good example.
Yeah.
Well, they sleep together, so not a great example.
But it's a fucking good movie, though.
Amazing movie. I will always rewatch it. But so she does that on the side, and it's like, whatever. So she's got this one guy, it's like unethical through her work with the app or whatever to go on multiple dates with somebody.
Ooh,
but she's like done it for more than a month with this guy because she likes him. And spoiler.
They fall in love.
No.
Oh.
Spoiler, the reason that they're doing it is because he is asexual and is afraid to tell his family. But he's got, what a hot older brother who hates her. And they play this game, which I'm pretty sure is because I don't know what the game's called. I think it's like the black and white tiles that you like flip over. And they're like, only engineers are good at this game.
It's in my book cabinet or over there. Othello.
Oh, I don't think it's Othello.
Really?
Maybe it is. It's whatever I played Lex Luthor at on the Superman computer game. Is that helpful for you?
So helpful.
But anyways, only engineers are good at it. So she's like at a family event. There's whatever. And then she's like eyeballing it. And he goes, do you want to play me? And they play. And she loses but barely and is furious. Obviously.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't believe this guy knows how to play. And in his head, he's like, isn't she a teacher? How is she good at this game? Because she's got some, like, silly, not silly, but, like, she's an engineer of something.
Yeah.
And so she's like, no, I'm just, like, an art teacher. As her, like, cover story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so they're both confused and furious and whatever. And then she...
Wait, so they're just, like, within the universe of this book... It still supports the idea that only engineers are good at this game.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, is they keep talking about how only engineers are good at this game.
So I thought it was, like, his thing that she was gonna, like, challenge
There's
his
a huge
thoughts.
chance I'm saying engineer and it's a physicist.
Okay.
Either way. Because I think, now that I'm thinking about it, the later conflict of theoretical versus something physics comes into play. Because she's a theoretical physicist and he's whatever the other one is. And... So she applies for this job, goes to interview, and this man not only is an interviewer, nightmare, but also he is her and all theoretical physicists' mortal enemy, because he, as a child, wrote an article and submitted it to this big theoretical physicist magazine, and it was all lies, and they, like, signed off as, like, fact-checking or whatever you do in science. Peer reviewed, thank you, and submitted it. And then he came out and was like, yeah, I made all of this up. And so basically proved that they weren't actually doing thorough reviews. And that man that he ruined his career for is that girl's mentor.
Fuck.
So she hates this man.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to get this job, which is all cool. But then they, like, start forming this kind of, like, relationship dynamic. And he's, like, on the interview panel for her. And the whole time I'm like, this feels like a situation where you should have excused yourself ethically from the decision process.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I felt very uncomfortable with that. So that was one of my qualms. Also, this is the big qualm I wanted to talk to you about. Because I haven't told you this. Mm-hmm. All of her exes thinks Twilight's a silly movie series. It's her favorite movie series.
Okay.
He is like, I'm going to watch this with you. Watches 2 of the movies and is like, I think I'm good. You can keep watching this without me. And I'm like, am I supposed to applaud this? I'm sorry, there's 5 movies. Are we supposed
to like him after that?
I literally, whatever I was trying to hold on to for him, despite the ethical workplace scenario, the second he's just like, I'm not going to finish it. She's like, that's okay. And they're like, near each other and he's just not watching it. I'm like, it's the Twilight series. Finish it.
Yeah.
Like, you're missing the fun movies where everything is crazy looking.
Yes.
And I just couldn't respect him after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like,
absolutely. It's actually, on that same note, one of the books that I read recently, and I gave this book 5 stars because I think it deserves 5 stars. There's one part of it, though. So, the Serpent and Dove series.
Oh, I tried.
Yeah. So, there's the sequel series that Mahurin just released. First book came out, like, late last year. It's called The Scarlet Veil. I love the book because it's got vampires. That's my shit. Vampire. Yes. That is my shit. I think you should read this one.
Okay.
I think this is the one that I gave you the, like, addendum for where it's like...
Oh, yeah.
She is, like Saley is kind of childish to start, not, like, on purpose so much as, like, she's kind of conscious of it because she was raised with, like, so much privilege and, like, in such, like, a sheltered environment that she's really trying to break out of it, and she's doing, like, normal human fuck-ups along the way, which is, like, you know, she tries to stand up to the guy that's, like, trying to, like, beat her up, and she's not successful because naturally, even though she's, like, working with, like, the police in this situation...
the police were like sketch though, right?
Yeah, because they're like
funded by the church.
They're
or
like
something.
Like within the church, yeah. And so she's like the first woman to join the chasseurs, right? And you're like, how is this working out? Like, because it happens kind of like in the epilogue of the last book.
Okay.
And so you're like, what is going on there? And it's going about as well as you can imagine from what we know about Saley. Okay. Which is just that it's not going well at all.
That's fair.
And her new fiance, because it's like a time jump a little bit, her new fiance is the head of the chasseurs. And we kind of find out that he's just been, like, essentially, like, just letting her skid through things and, like, not actually testing her.
Yeah.
And that's really frustrating, but, like, it's like, justified frustrating, right? Because, like, we see this, like, childish character that's kind of, like, inexperienced character, and she doesn't just magically get better.
Yeah.
She's not actually being challenged. She's not actually being taught. She's just being, like, coddled. And she recognizes that, and it's really frustrating for her. And I think it's really nice to read that, from that point of view at least. But her fiance is such a piece of shit. Because there's, like, she doesn't talk bad about him, because she's just, like, the nicest. She's so sweet.
Also, I imagine it's her fiance, so talking bad about him is probably...
Yeah, but, like, even her internal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, her internal stuff is, like... She just can't see. She's like, I get it. It's because he loves me. And I'm like, he's like actually just being misogynistic though. Huh.
Yeah. It's weird that her internal monologue would be so like filtered.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I'm like, how much of it is filtered and how much of it is because like she hasn't fully broken from like the mold that her family expects of her. Because that's kind of like the overarching issue with her, like her privileged experience in life. Is that her mom was just like, you're just gonna be a wife and that's gonna be okay. We will get you a farm in the countryside. Perfect. Yes, and you just gotta have a husband and it's gonna be beautiful and perfect. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the original series happened and that kind of blew up in their faces.
Okay.
And so I think it is still like, some of it's that leftover, like, this is the way it's supposed to be. He's supposed to love me, so he's supposed to protect me, and so that's okay.
Yeah. And then...
This is not really a spoiler. I'll try to say it without giving too much away because it's enough to like what you would have read in like the
first book.
Yeah. Well, no, not the first book, but like with the blurb for the book.
Oh, okay.
So she joins up with So we didn't know that vampires existed. In the original series, what it looks like is that vampires are La Dame Rouge, the witches that use blood.
Yes.
And so that's the way it kind of was painted at first.
Okay. Because I thought they were vampires.
Yeah, and so I think, so that's the thing, is like, I don't know if Mahurin initially intended for those to be vampires, and then like later just added like actual vampires.
Okay, so they're separate. They're not
They
like
are fully
same.
separate, yeah. Okay. So like, what we find out later in the original trilogy is that La Dame Rouge and La Dame Blanche, all of them actually use the same process for magic. The thing is that La Dame Blanche, who are using the land, are using like the bones and like the history of the land, like literally.
I'm sorry. Blanc is using bones, which are white, and Rouge is using blood that's red.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like they're actively
that makes it
like
so
searching.
Easy to track.
Yeah, it's not like they're actively searching for bones, but like they're like, oh yeah, we get our magic from the earth, and it's like, but it's not just the earth itself.
It's the bones in the soil.
Yeah, it's like the soil. It's like the history of the earth itself.
Okay,
and so we're like the same thing with like the blood is like it's the life force, and so you're getting it from like the life force and things. Whereas like the vampires, now that vampires have been introduced, like actively actually bite. They like actually are doing vampire stuff. And he, obviously it's a he. There's like the vampire that she's falling in love with.
Oh. Okay.
Even though she's not admitting that she's falling in love with him.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. Yes. A nice little enemies to lovers. But in the kind of flavor that I like more, which is that like they're bickering and they're like argumentative and they're kind of like nemesis, but they're working together. So he is actually challenging her.
I love that in a book. I love when you have the two male options.
Yes.
One is just like enabling like childlike behaviors and not letting them grow. And then the other's like, you could do better than that. I'm always going to root for the you can do better than that.
Yes, absolutely. And you should always root for the you can do better than that. I think there's obviously, because he takes care of her in like a different way. In a way that I think they both need the boundaries for, because like he needs boundaries for reasons that I won't get into.
Of course he does.
Yeah, of course he does. But she also like, that gives her the space to figure out what hers actually are, which I think is really important when somebody like in her situation has to, because she pretty much like in the books she starts out as Reed's fiance, and Reed's the main guy. And then that doesn't work out because he eventually goes with Lou Reed.
Yep.
I wonder how far into the book, or if she knew that from the beginning, because once I realized that about my characters, I probably would have like changed the names just out of
there's a 90% chance that's intentional.
Yeah. And so then pretty much like when she's already dating Jean-Luc, her fiance, in the sequel series, it's announced like the 3-month later epilogue, basically. So it's not that far between when she was engaged to Reed, and it's like less than a year, and when she's already dating his best friend.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like it's hoe behavior, but not in like the like ho, but in the like she has to have a man by her side because that is how she's been raised.
Totally fair. Get it.
Yeah.
So no chastity with the Chaucers. That wasn't a requirement of being in the church. I feel like there was a whole thing of like you can't be with anyone.
Not for the Chaucers. The Chaucers can marry because they're technically like civilian, but like
but the one guy, Reed.
Yes.
He said, I actually love God so much that I'm gonna be chaste and not be with you anymore, and that's why they broke up.
No, he was saving himself till marriage.
Well, wouldn't they just get married then?
But he didn't end up saving himself till marriage.
Well, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that happened in the book I read. I was so confused on that.
I don't think so. The reason because he realizes that spoiler alert, he realizes that he can do magic, and that scares him a little bit. And so it's not so much that they stop having sex, but it's more that he feels the need to like double down on his beliefs at first for a second. Not in hating her, but like in his own like how he lives his lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he went back to being chaste. If I honestly.
Oh, I don't mean going back. I mean when he and Cecily, what's her name?
Sally
broke up. I feel like he was like, I just love the church and I don't have time for both. I thought that was the messaging I was getting. I meant them too.
I thought you meant okay.
No, I haven't gotten to anything
with Lou Reed. Yeah.
I mean, I finished that first book, but they don't really like split.
Not really.
They don't even really.
Their relationship really takes off in the second book.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I meant Cecily. Whatever. Saline.
Sally, I think he was just saying that to like make her feel better. So he wasn't supposed to be hanging out with witches, and so he couldn't exactly be like, I am in love with another woman who is a witch.
But they broke up before that.
Yeah, but he didn't realize that, like, that's the thing, is like it was one of those things where it's like, you don't have to break up with her if you want to do this. You're breaking up with her because you want to be a free agent. And he wouldn't, like, he has to be like the chivalrous guy. Yeah. I feel that I roll with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I listened to this as an audiobook and there were a lot of French names, and so it was a very confusing audiobook for me. Maybe I'll go back and figure it out at some point, but I do love the dynamic of the person she thinks she loves, and these so, like, I don't know, just bland. Mm-hmm. And boring and awful. Mm-hmm. And then the guy that's, like, dangerous and, like, wants to challenge her and wants her to be her own independent person.
Yeah.
How very feminist. This is the future liberals want.
Absolutely it is.
Ugh.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of In Bed with Books, a bookish podcast for bookish babes. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can keep up with all of the latest updates. And if you have any suggestions for authors, books, or topics that you want to hear about on the podcast, then feel free to DM me on Instagram or shoot me an email. I'm wishing you a lovely rest of your day, and until next time, happy reading.